attend?
Well, to be honest, my home school has an agreement with Texas Tech, and I figured, hey, Texas Tech would be a nice place. It's kind of far out. It's a pretty small city, and it's kind of nice city to be in to study law. I'd say the faculty is very dedicating. They really try to make everyone better, and I'd say I love that a lot. The door's always open. You can always come and say, hey, I have a question. I didn't understand that one. And it's really great because the professor will always take time and say, hey, I would address your concerns, and I try to improve you and to try to make you understand the things. Yeah, I really like that attitude. Well, teaching style in general is not lectures, but rather like a study group atmosphere. Every now and then I have 3 classes with less than 20 students, so we get to talk a lot, we discuss a lot of things. And the professor is more like in all the law students, so to speak, who actually gives advice to you and kind of figures, hey, this is how you might do it, and this is how you could see it otherwise. I do have only one class, which is in a lecture style, where the professor sits up front and speaks to us. And back home in Germany, it's pretty much all lecture classes, so I kind of enjoy this difference a lot. Students can participate more and actually bring their concerns in more, and what they can do as well is kind of like influence the way of teaching and the way that you discuss things. Because like when the professor would give a lecture, like the professor would be in charge with how you discuss things and how do you think about things and how to address things. But when the students can discuss with him or with her, that really is an improvement when it comes to like the style of the class. And I guess students actually have to, in order to participate, the students have to they have to speak up and they have to make sure that they are getting involved in things, because otherwise they will get a bad grade, which is unlike back home where the professor will just keep talking and talking, and if you don't like to speak out in public, you might just sit on your seat and take notes, and that's pretty much it. You don't have to get involved in things. Well, I would say the students are like very hardworking. They really try to get into things, and they really try to try to get into things and really try to be successful. I've never seen anybody here who's just sitting in a class and say, hey, I don't care about anything. I just want to get my diploma. I guess people really try to work hard and be as successful as possible. And they're also very open-minded. I get into some discussions with like politics about how is things in Germany, how is things back home, and try to compare these. And they're open-minded and hardworking. Well, I'm taking capital punishment seminar. I'm taking criminal procedure. I'm taking a comparative class in constitutional law, and I'm also taking an introduction to U.S. law, which is mandatory for anybody who is not from around here, is just doing an exchange. I guess the most outstanding of these classes is for sure the capital punishment class, since we don't have a death penalty back home in Germany. And I really enjoy that a lot. It's a way different way of thinking, but it really helps me to get into the American society and really kind of helps me to understand how Texas people really are, because we don't have that back home. The comparative constitutional class is very interesting too. We, as the name tells, we kind of discuss a lot about different constitutions and try to compare things. And being from another country and being used to another constitution really helps me out there, because I mean, I can pretty much compare the constitution from here to my home one, so that really helps me. The criminal procedure class is interesting too. It's a whole bunch of police conduct and how the police is supposed to conduct their actions, searches and seizures, probable cause, these kind of stuff. And the introduction to the U.S. law is pretty much just an overview of what the legal system in this country is. And yeah, it really helps to get adjusted into things and to really helps to get into the system here. Lübeck is a pretty small city, so to speak. They have roughly 250,000 people, which is all right, and they call it the hub city for a reason, because this is the biggest city within 5 hours. It doesn't matter which way you go. I guess it's kind of a nice place. It's not too big, it's not too small. You can actually go out if you want to. You can stay in, and it's not as distracting as like a very big city such as Chicago, Berlin, or whatever. And I would just say it's a nice place to be, and it's a good city to be in. Well, I would say that I did a lot of sports. There's a rec center here at Tech, which is a very nice place to be. You can work out, you can do like pretty much anything. There's an indoor running lane, there's an indoor pool. You can play basketball, which I do quite often along with other students here. And in the summer there's a student leisure pool and the student lazy river. It's like 800 feet long, and you can just it's actually longer than that, and you can actually just jump in there and the water will carry you, the stream will carry you. That's a very nice place, and you get also that you can get into all that for free with your ID. I've been to a lot of football games and basketball games. That admission is free there as well with your student ID, and so I really enjoyed that, especially since Texas Tech is a pretty good football team this season. Well, I'd say absolutely go. Absolutely, you have to go. It's like it's a great place to be. You get a whole different type of law there, and you get it in Texas, in far, far away Texas. Because when we think in Germany of the United States, most people think, hey, that's New York City. We're talking Los Angeles, maybe Chicago. And if people think Texas, oh, that's a lot of states and big pickup trucks. And I say, well, that is kind of right, but that's not all of it. It's also a different type of law. We have a whole bunch of professors that have been educated at Harvard or other schools. And there's professors from pretty much all over the country, and the students are really trying to be successful. And you can do sports, and you can have fun in your free time, and you can work hard in your classes and just have a good time, and can really add up on your English. And yeah, that's a great place to go. If you want to go abroad, study in the US, I would recommend you come here. It's not that big of a city, but it's big enough if you want to enjoy yourself. But it's also, since it's a smaller city, people really get interest in you. It's not like New York where there's whatever thousands of Germans around. It's a pretty small city, and I'm pretty much the only German here. So, and we have a small law school here too. We have, I guess, roughly 800 law students. So pretty much everybody is kind of fast in meeting you and kind of says hi every now and then. It's not really hard to get, and it's not hard to meet people, so to speak. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and therefore I would say, hey, if you're thinking about going abroad, study a semester or do an LLM, I guess Texas Tech is pretty much the place you want to be at.